session, we'll be discussing about how to crack the Cognizant test. Cognizant is an American multinational corporation that provides IT services including digital technology, consulting and operation services. Every year, this company recruits in large number for the roles of program analyst trainee and associate from various colleges. Now, if you have Cognizant as your dream company and if you want to start your career in Cognizant, watch this webinar until the end so that you get a brief idea about how the Cognizant recruitment process takes place. In Cognizant, you have two levels of recruitment, which is the online test and the interview process. So once you crack the online test, you're through this company because this test plays a vital role in your selection process. In this webinar, we'll be discussing about the pattern of this test, how the test is being evaluated, the syllabus from which the questions are being taken, and I'll also be telling you about some tips and tricks in order to crack the test. Finally, I'll be going through the placement season courses for the 2020 batch and also the free resources for placement season, which is available for your practice. Moving on. The Cognizant online test consists of 4 sections: Quantitative Aptitude, Logical Reasoning, Verbal English, and Automata Fix. Among these 4 sections, only the first 3 sections were available until a year back, which is before 2018. In 2018, Cognizant has revised its test pattern and included a section called Automata Fix. This section is because it wants to test the ability of its candidates in the programming skills. It recruits the candidates for a programming position and it expects its employees to have a basic idea about programming before getting into the company. Now let's see how the test is being evaluated, and then I'll go through the various topics in each section which has to be known to you in order to crack the test. Cognizant evaluates every candidate, or it evaluates the tests based on AMCAT procedure. Now we have seen tests where you have negative markings for wrong answers. AMCAT gives an indirect negative marking procedure. What is indirect negative marking procedure? Let's see. So first, when you give a correct answer, you'll get more marks and the next question will be more tougher. And this tough question will carry more marks. That is, if this question carries some 5 marks, if the first question carries 5 marks, if you answer the first question correct, the second question will be tough and it will get some 6 or 7 marks, which is more than the previous question. Now, what if you answer the test? What if you answer the question wrong? The next question will be easy and you'll get less marks. That is, if your first question is wrong, which has 5 marks, you lose 5 marks, and the next question will be an easy question which has only 3 marks. So, in a place where you can get 5 marks, you only get 3 marks. Now, in this procedure, how will you actually crack the test? What is a tip or even it can be called a trick in order to get more marks? Simple. You answer all questions correctly in a sequence, you get more marks. Now let's see an example. Suppose the first question has 5 marks. If you answer this question correct, the next question will be tough and will have 6 marks. And the next will have 7 and then 8. So 5, 6, 7. How much do you get? You get around 18 marks in 3 questions. When you answer it consequently. Now let's see another way where you can lose marks. So here you give a first question is correct. which has 5 marks. So you get 5 marks. And the second question, you answered it wrong. So you lose 6 marks. Now your marks is 5 minus 6 minus 1. The next question, you get a correct answer. Since this is a wrong answer, this will carry less marks. Say 4 marks. So already you have minus 1 plus 4 is 3. And again you answer the question wrong. Since this question is correct, this question will carry more marks. And again you'll get a minus marks. So when you have alternate correct and wrong answers, there are chances of getting low marks. So try to answer questions correctly in a sequence. At least you get from 3 or 2 correct answers in a sequence, and the next question is wrong, it doesn't matter, you don't lose more marks. However, when you have alternate correct wrong questions, means all the effort that you put towards the correct answer will be of no use. So plan it in such a way that you answer questions correctly. And for this, you need more and more practice. Along with this model, Cognizant online tests have a sectional timing also. So you get very minimal timing for each and every section. Your timing is fixed. You need to complete that particular section in that particular time. Say you have some 15 questions in aptitude, you will be given 15 or 20 minutes. So in such a short time, you need to answer 15 questions, and with most of the correct answer in a consequent manner. I hope you understand. Now let's see what the syllabus are for the various sections. Quantitative aptitude basically checks your mathematical skills. It checks your ability to work with numbers. So under quantitative aptitude, you can have questions based on divisibility, LCM, HCF, decimal fractions, profit and loss, simple and compound interest, time and distance, logarithms, permutation and combinations, probability, etc. You can get other topics, but these topics are the most commonly asked. So concentrate on all these sections so that you crack quantitative aptitude. Regarding quantitative aptitude, as I said earlier, you will get very less time for each and every section. So you have to concentrate and prepare your timing such that you can get the most correct answers. How do you do that? Go through the questions first. See what questions you know and what questions you don't know. Don't spend too much time on a question. If you don't know a particular question, move on. Check the next question. And practice more on quantitative aptitude so that you do it easier in your exams. This is the most important tip that you have to follow. Practice, because numbers you need more practice on. Next comes the logical reasoning section. Under logical reasoning, you will be evaluated based upon your analytical skills. You have to reason out stuffs. You have to have a good presence of mind. All these will be checked in the logical reasoning questions. So the various topics that will be covered are coding, decoding, direction sense, blood relations, sequence of words or sequence of numbers, analogy, patterns, data sufficiency, decision tables, circular arrangement, linear arrangements. So you can have any type of questions in logical reasoning which would evaluate your analytical skills. So it's very important to read the question properly. Reading the question properly will solve the problem easily. Understand the question clearly so that you get to know what is actually asked in the question and what you have to do. As I said in the previous section, even for logical reasoning, there needs some practice because sometimes you get a particular set of questions in a pattern. Some questions have a specific pattern. Like in blood relation, you need to know the various relationships. That is, who's a father, mother, grandfather, niece, nephew. All those relations you need to know so that you can relate using the given details. And for direction sense, you need to know which is north, south, east. It's all very basic. In number series, you can have patterns like for Fibonacci series, squares of numbers, cubes of numbers. If they are asked, you can easily answer them if you know the squares and cubes, or at least if you know how to find them. And for questions that are big, either learn how to read the question faster or get to know the keywords in the question. So for each and every logical reasoning question, you have some kind of keywords used. So if you take a seating arrangement problem, you'll be given a person is sitting left to or right to or second to the right of or next to this particular person, something like that. So you need not read the whole question, the whole story. You can just skim through the passage and see what are all the keywords. That's how you do the logical reasoning question. If you practice all this and have a good hold of the reasoning concepts, it will be easy for you to attend the test. Next comes the English language. Vocabulary is checked the most in almost all competitive exams. For our placement test, this plays a major role because you have to communicate in your office space or with the clients only in English. So you need to have a good understanding of English. So for this, you are tested with topics like synonyms, antonyms, error identification, sentence improvement, subject-verb agreement, tenses and articles, prepositions, speech, voices, reading comprehension, etc. For reading comprehension, you'll be given a very big passage and you'll be given questions related to that. You'll have some 5 to 6 questions. Although the questions may be easy, the time to take for reading the passage will be more. So if you learn how to read the passage easily, you can get through the reading comprehension questions. As I said, for the logical reasoning questions, even for reading comprehension, you can first skim through the passage and understand what the passage is all about and get some keywords. So once you skim through the passage and understand what it is, you will get to know what the passage says and what you can infer from it. So using that, when you see the question, you can again go through the passage and find out the answers easily. Another frequent question asked is the error identification or the error correction. Mostly the errors will be of tenses, regarding tenses, nouns, verbs, prepositions, speech, etc. So you have to know all these concepts to do the error correction. And one more thing is that if you practice on error correction, you will get to know various other topics also. Even here, you need to have good practice and you need to get to know many different kinds of words. You need to explore on words. You can read newspapers and see the kinds of words they are using. This will improve your vocabulary. Now let's move on to the most important and the newly added section in Cognizant Test, Automata Fix. This is a new and a never held before coding skill evaluation test. So what will you be expected from this test? It checks the candidate's programming ability to debug the error in his code and fix it. What kind of questions you get? You'll get two kind of questions. One is you'll be given a part of code and you'll be expected to complete that code. And the next is you'll be given code which is incorrect, which will have errors. You have to find the error in it and fix it so that it gets the desired output. The Automata Fix section evaluates the candidate's skill of being able to understand the code written by someone else. He should be able to find bugs and also use the code to implement new functionality. This assessment is available across multiple languages. That is, you'll be given an option to choose from C, C++ and Java. You can choose one language from it and answer the questions that come below it. You'll also be given a compile and run option which allows you to compile and run the program anytime to check for the status of the program, whether it's executed properly or not. The code you submit must be logically and syntactically correct to pass all the test cases. The most important thing you have to do is to pass all the test cases. That is where the evaluation is done. Now, on what topics you will be asked the Automata Fix questions and what will you be expected from it? Like in for loops, the boundary values may cause issues. So you're required to check the boundary value conditions. This happens mostly in loops and the control statements. You also have to know about the various data types like int, float, double, etc. and the range of values it can accept. So that if a number or a data is given which exceeds that particular range, it produces an error. You have to know the range so that you can give the correct answer. You must know about functions, precision values, signed, unsigned values, arrays, strings, data structures, etc. so that you can answer the questions properly. You will know the concept and you will know what to do if you know the basic concept. So in a gist, you have to fix all the syntactical and logical errors. You have to reuse the code and give the desired result. So your task is to debug the program to pass all the test cases. So in some code writing cases, you can click on Helper Code tab. There is a tab called Helper Code to find out the details of functions or classes which are provided for reuse. This is used in questions for code reusability. And also, you have to only correct the given implementation and you cannot add any kind of library methods. Only with the given existing methods you have to work on. That's what Automata Fix is all about. Now let's see some sample questions on Automata Fix. Now this question asks you to check for syntax or logical error. Now what does this say? You have to assume that this question has an error in it. You have to find what the error is. Intent correct, scanf correct, unsigned int correct, while I is equal to 0, I greater than or equal to 0, printf return 0. As you see, there is no syntax error. Everything is syntactically correct. So there has to be a logical error. As I said earlier, errors can occur mostly in the loops. So check on the loop. While I greater than 0. Now in order to see whether the loop executes fine or not, we will get a input value like a sample value, say 4. So the value of n is 4 and it's assigned to I. I is an unsigned integer which has its numbers ranging from 0 to 65,535. So first the while loop checks for I greater than or equal to 0. For input 4, I is greater than or equal to 0. It passes and the loop is executed. Now I becomes 3. The condition passes. 2, the condition passes. 1, the condition passes. 0, the condition passes. After 0, what will the value of I be? It will not go to -1 because I is an unsigned integer. And it does not have minus values. It only ranges from 0 to 65,535. So when I is subtracted after 0, it goes to the 65,535 value. Even 65,535 is greater than 0. So what will happen? It is an infinite loop. Because I is an unsigned integer and has only positive values. So what you have to do? You need to change unsigned into int I equal to n. Where when I is subtracted after 0, it becomes -1 and the condition is failed. And the program will execute properly. Okay. So this is a kind of question you'll be asked for checking errors and fixing it. Next you get the complete the code question where you're required to write a functionality. Here you're given a function named isPrime which has an parameter num. Now in order to write this function, we need to know what the return value of this function does in the main function. So in the main function, you see you have two values nm array of 100 size equal to 0. These are the variables declared. You get a value called n and you're checking if the 2 to n is prime or not. If it's prime, it's getting assigned to the array. Okay, this is what the main function does. So what you have to do, you need to write your function which returns either true or false or 0 or 1, saying whether it's prime or not. Okay, so how will you write the code? Simple. If you know the prime number logic, so you're checking from 2 to the number divided by 2 and check if the modulus operation gives a 0 value. If the modulus operator gives a 0 value, then isPrime is given as 0, which is false. If this condition fails for all the cases which is half of the number, which is less than half of the number, then the number is a prime number and you return 1. This is how the function is written. You have to write this function in the space given over here or in your coding environment given there. Click on compile and run and check if your code works. Now you will be given various test cases in the front end as well as in the back end. You have to pass all the test cases. So these are the two types of questions that will be asked under Automata Fix. I hope all of you got a brief idea about how the test works and what are the type of questions that will be asked in the various sections. You need to concentrate more on the Automata Fix because it carries more marks. So from technical perspective, as you're going to the programming world or the multinational company, corporate world, whatever you call it, you need to know the basics of programming. At least the basic languages, C, C++ or Java. Any of these languages you have to know so that you can crack the Automata Fix questions. And one more thing is that most of the questions that will be asked in this section will be known to you. Like for in complete the code, here you ask for prime number. Similarly, you will be asked for factorial or even or odd number or something. It will be of not very difficult level. You will know the concept, you will know the logic. All you have to know is how to implement this in programming. You will not be asked any kind of complex or difficult questions. Even if you're asked complex or difficult questions, you'll be given proper instructions and proper explanations for the questions so that you can write your functions or complete the program easily. You have to know to read the program, understand the program, and find the logic of the code. That is all is required to crack the Automata Fix questions. As I said earlier, practice on the questions, work more, attend mock tests, and I'm sure you'll be able to crack the test and keep a step ahead in the Cognizant test. Now I'll be discussing about the various placement season courses for the 2020 batch and the free resources available in our platform. So we have 6 courses lined up for the 2020 batch. Each of these courses help you crack the various interviews of the IT and product companies. We have 2 courses named Programming for Placements Beginners and Advanced. In order to crack the service companies, we suggest you to use the Programming for Beginners course. Programming for Placements Beginners course. For cracking product companies, you can go for Programming for Placements Advanced course. We also have a course for Aptitude. This course is categorized according to the difficulty level, that is level 1, level 2, level 3, and students can choose any of these levels for their practice. This course helps you in cracking the first level of screening in all placements and also for all other competitive exams like GATE, bank exams, etc. We have 3 preparatory courses for C, C++, and Java, which provides an extensive tutorial along with practice tests and assessment tests for each of the languages. In order to enroll for the course, you can check on the link below or even take a screenshot of it for sharing it to your friends. All courses in our platform get 15% discount if you use this coupon code while payment. We also have some free resources in our platform. So there are free company specific mock tests on every Sunday. This is happening from January 6th and is being attended by thousands of students every Sunday. After completing the test, we provide you a complete analysis with the answers and solutions on the next day. That is, if you take your test on Sunday, your analysis will be available in the platform on Monday. The registration link for this test is http://po.st/freetest. Go to this link and you can have a free mock test every Sunday. This will be very useful for clearing your papers. We also display the toppers list after the mock test, which help you compare the scores. There is also a live YouTube webinar on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on different topics so that it increases your knowledge. There are lots of concept videos and recorded webinar videos in a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, and you can access them. You can have a great career start. Thank you.